Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy business podcast in the on this girth earth.
Well,
Number
that's a new one that I don't know if I like or not.
I'm the mirth of girth.
Oh, Christ.
That's what I want my finder intro to be. You know him as the mirth of girth, Law Smith.
Running in with a chair.
For realsy, we just won another award, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know.
It was.
I sent it to you.
Okay. Dude, you just gave me so much sass.
I did the whole episode, too.
What was that?
Sassy.
That was a chick sass.
Bro, I've been sassy all day.
Your hands might as well have been on your hips.
They were.
I already sent it to you. You can listen to this pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with the real raw dog talk on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere podcasts are served in your eardrums.
What?
This episode is sponsored by Zupyak, Zupyak, the first search optimized AI writer. I've been using it. I'm a member, man. Look, I love it. I don't like all these very complicated AI content writing things. I just need to write a landing page. I just need to write a blog post. Bing, bang, boom. 4 steps. Here's all the keywords I need. Get that SEO up. You like that?
Yeah.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Go to Zupyak, ZUPYAK.com and put in the promo code SWEAT. Sweat.
What the hell did we win here? We won Best SME Advice Podcast 2023 in the USA from North America
That
Business
means
something or other.
SME means small, medium enterprise. Let's do this. Howdy toddy.
It's called Sweat Equity.
Listening to the Sweat Equity.
Yeah, we just do the podcast kind of live on tape. We try to keep it efficient for all our guests.
Good.
Joe, why don't you instead of me trying to, stumble through your bio, why don't you give a short bio and where to find you? Any links or plugs you want to promote?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Joe Khoei. I am a San Francisco Bay Area resident since the 80s. And I started a digital advertising agency called SalesX. We help people advertise on Google, and we're 5 times winners of the US Search Awards and everything else. Besides that, I started a company called XCBD. XCBD is I started it because I do a lot of martial arts. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 6 days a week, and I do yoga every day. So I don't really need it because I started doing yoga every day. I don't really need as much CBD. But whenever I do get banged up, I could just rub some high-potency CBD in. And so I got this XCBD thing going so that we could sell single-dose packages that are extra strength. And so that's on xcbd.com. Besides that, my background and my interests, there's a lot of, I started, my formal education is in engineering, but I've done sales and marketing and advertising for the past 13 years. And, motorcycling, martial arts, all the 2 ends of the spectrum, from heavy metal to opera, just give it to me all.
Now, normally, if I didn't know that background, I would give you a lot of shit for hitting a 2 o'clock crash where you are. Because you're very calm, probably because of the things you're doing like that. Like the jujitsu, the yoga. The most calm people I know are kind of into that stuff on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
I'll give it a pass instead of roasting, but I'm the guy wearing a tank top. I don't know if you've, we like to ask everybody that comes on the show first time these 2 questions. Number 1, did you listen to the show before coming on?
Yeah, I'm busted there just because I came back from 3 weeks in India And I just got back and I'm like, holy smokes, I gotta be on. So I haven't listened to any shows, but that's my bad.
That's a good,
Normally,
it's a good
normally I
excuse.
do.
I'll allow it. Most people are just like, just straight up, no, I didn't know it was coming on. Some people were, I had to tell a lot of booking agencies that hit us up. I'm like, if people don't come on and talk passionately about whatever you want them to come on to talk about, I'm going to just lay into them like Howard Stern in the 90s or something, like,
Yeah.
cause we get people that come on and it feels like they're, forced to do it, like hostage. And it's like, hey, you guys asked us to come on. Most of
Right.
our people are asking us through an agency. And then the second question I always like to ask, we ask all our guests, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Yeah. So the thing
Yeah,
about I have
you
you
thought
say
this was a silly boy show. This is
actually
hard.
I don't know how you nailed that, but I have a 13-year-old son.
And we ask everybody this question because
Yeah.
13 is such a pivotal age, you know, it really can be that. To me, it is that there's a couple of different routes you're going to go with your life. And I feel like, not to go like string theory or time travel talk, but like, you know, a lot of things that happen at 13 can really push you in a direction,
Yeah.
because you got hormones and a lot of time and energy, but not a lot of knowledge or experience.
Right. Right. So I mean the things that so this is an easy one for me because I say it to my son. So I could just it's kind of like I wish, he would listen. And I wish when I was 13 somebody had said something like this to me and that I had listened. And maybe they did, and I just don't remember. But the two things I would say that whatever you're gonna do, you apply yourself. Like if you're in class, just pay attention to the class, and you don't have to actually take notes or study. You're fine as long as you pay attention in class. You'll do great. Whatever you're gonna do, focus on that thing. Don't be distracted doing other things. 13-year-old kids are notorious for just being completely distracted. And the second thing is discriminate. Learn discrimination. And when you discriminate,
It's just a funny way to put it.
yeah,
I love
learn
your
to
judge
discriminate.
and profile.
Huh?
No, I just, no one says it like that just to discriminate, because you know, the PC movement of the 90s made that a bad word. But
Yeah.
I know you're coming at it from more of probably an engineering kind of thought process.
I'm talking about friends. I'm talking
Right.
about the people you choose to hang out with. I'm talking
Filter.
about being careful about who you decide to spend your time with and give your time to, and the things that you decide to do. Think about it in the terms of, am I getting dumber by doing this or am I getting smarter by doing this? If the answer is I'm getting dumber, don't do it anymore.
I
Or
kind of, I think about that kind of constantly. I'm 39 right now and I'm kind of in that zone. I'm like, does this benefit me or my kids? Right? Like, it's basically what it comes down to. Time is a commodity when you get older. I mean, it is as you're 13 or younger, you know. But the more I thought about it as a unit of measurement, and it's finite, and you don't know how finite it is, right? You don't know what that end number is.
oh, you do know. You know
Well,
that it's gonna be about 82 years at best
yeah, but I mean, I could get
of like
much tomorrow.
meaningful living. After that, it's gonna be kind of like you're on borrowed time. Up to 80, 82, you're good. If you make it that far. So it's not gonna be 500 years.
I'm really banking on my consciousness getting uploaded to some kind of robot or something.
Yeah.
A Neuralink, maybe at 82.
Right.
Get in there.
Right. That would be
Then I
cool.
won't know if I'm real or not. It'll be
Wow.
matrix-ish.
Yeah.
So, we like to ask that question because we kind of stumbled backwards into kind of a Rorschach test of sorts with that question, and so it kind of tells us where you currently are, what you currently think about in the future a little bit, but it really gives us a peek into your background as a kid. Whereas, so you're a successful serial entrepreneur now. but that's never without any failure. And it sounds like maybe you either I couldn't tell if the number one part you had to your answer was because you didn't listen like ADHD style, or because you just kind of blew off anybody giving you advice.
Well, the thing is, when you're super young, you think you know everything. That's why I used to, when my daughter just went to school as her first year of college, and I was telling her when she was 17, I'm like, they should lower their age requirements for becoming the president to 17 because you seem to know everything.
That's a pretty good dad hate. I like
But
that. I'm gonna have to borrow that one.
it's like, anyway, so you think you know everything. So that's what's ironic about youth, but anyway, the thing, all I can do for my son, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, is just plant these seeds in their mind, right? You just keep planting seeds, and then hopefully these seeds will germinate. And when he's like 20 years old and his friends are trying to talk him into a bad decision, he'll be like, you know what? I think I'll pass on that one.
So a moral compass, more or less.
Yeah, kind of. If you can't, just let them run wild and not set the direction for them to some degree. Like, yeah, there's a lot of that going on where people are just running wild and there's no direction from the parent. There's no parenting. Kids that have no manners, they blow off their parents, and it's just like, what do you guys, fortunately for me, my kids. So I'll give you a funny story. So my ex-wife and I, we got divorced back in 2012.
Congrats.
And part of the reason we went our separate ways was that we didn't agree on how to raise the kids. She wanted to spoil the hell out of the kids, and I didn't, because I come from a background where there are military people on my dad's side of the family and my mom's side of the family, and it's just like, you couldn't act like a spoiled kid as a child. So we had to go our separate
That wasn't
ways.
even an option.
Yeah.
You got to earn everything, which is, I think, the best thing you can learn as a kid, to earn it. You don't
Right.
What's the value of free? It's zero, right?
Right.
So,
Entitlements. We have a lot of entitled kids these days.
well, I'm trying to get this in my 6 and 7-year-old now, that I'm trying to incentivize them for everything they want, right? And figuring out like little things. If they want something, I'm not just going to buy it for them.
Right.
Even if it's a thing of candy, right? Like, it's like, okay, son, we got to play chess when we get home, and I'll get you that candy. Something like that. And also penalties, incentives and penalties. Maybe I read too many Freakonomics things, but I kind of believe, not economist wise, but I feel like the people who earned people who are given stuff are kind of the worst people I know. Because they don't really have any value. And then if they do try to get up to a high level, they get up there to think this is going to solve all their problems, and they get there and that it's not fulfilling.
Right. That's
Sorry,
exactly.
I cut you off.
So, no, I was just pointing out that kids, they need direction. And like, one of the conversations I have with my son is like, that feeling when you haven't done your homework, or you haven't studied for a test, and you go into school and your stomach is turning, and you're like, you don't feel good about it because you're gonna do poorly or get busted. I know you have that feeling because I'm not seeing you study right now. Okay. And I had that feeling when I was your age, and I don't want you to have it. And I don't want to just give you some guidelines that you're going to use for the next 20 years, even though you will. But just tonight, go do your study so that tomorrow you don't have that feeling. Just cover the one day's worth, so to speak.
I'm guessing you're a pretty bright guy. Your kids are probably pretty bright. Maybe they're the kids that don't have to study, which is also a kind of a Trojan horse later in life, because eventually you have to learn how to study way too late.
Yeah.
My smartest friends had to go, I was 24. I was in law school and I didn't know how to study.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I personally didn't learn how to think till I was about 22, just because I took like a philosophy class in university. Because I had an I had an engineering major, so philosophy wasn't part of the requirements. But I was like, my dad guys, they all studied philosophy. Let me take a philosophy course. So I took a philosophy course, and then you would read stuff like God is that which is in itself and does not exist outside of itself. And you're like, what? I know what all those words mean, but I don't know what that sentence means. So it started like squeezing your brain to learn how to think. And I think a lot of people actually don't know how to think because they don't want to squeeze their brain really that hard. So learning how to think and critical thinking and getting that inertia and momentum going on being able to think critically, it takes effort. And you have to put that effort in early. And as a child, as a kids, raising kids, exposure to those kinds of problems early on and knowing that, hey, these are some of the things in life that are going to be important later is guidance, that we can give them as parents. So why not? Why not
Yeah.
do it?
Was there anything? And so, in my experience, the best engineers are the ones that do take an outside kind of what would be called atypical for an engineer, like a philosophy class like that. Because the problem with, I mean, there's a lot of engineer jokes out there,
Okay.
as you probably know, but it's one of those things where my understanding is they will live in the constraints of what they have as resources instead of thinking of the boundless other possibilities out there. Is that fair to say? Did
Yeah.
philosophy open you up to that?
Yeah, totally. So the funny thing is I continued my education by going after a master's in business. So I didn't keep going down the engineering path. But a lot of people, they go like they'll get their bachelor's and their master's and their PhD all in the same kind of types of fields. And it's like you know more and more and more about less and less and less.
Right.
And as my friend Gene Rogroden used to say, by the time you get a PhD, you know everything about nothing.
Yeah.
So it's it's like you don't have the common sense. You're not developing this wide view of reality and the world and everything around you. You're not uh there's those kinds of limitations that having excessively don't going down the same path instead of going down a diverse path. It does
Right.
have those setbacks.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
just
that's why I love doing stand-up comedy because I've got to get into a perspective of not within a bit, other people that are in the bit, their perspective is one way to kind of write jokes. But I also love just improvising on stage and riffing and doing crowd work and talking to the crowd and getting that perspective is really interesting. How many people, you know, in this certain area hate Biden and how many people hate Trump at this little town. And like, you're like, oh, okay, this exists. But in reality, it was like most people live in the gray, if I had to give it kind of a summary.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, you can focus in one area. You can be the pond that's very deep in one area, right? I've always thought it was a bad thing because people would say I'm a wide pond that's 2 feet deep. And I was like, well, that's kind of a passive aggressive way to say I know a little bit about a lot of things,
Yeah.
but nothing about anything deeper than that. But I always like to counter that with I'd say I'm 2 feet deep with some holes, some really deep holes in there, just to feel
Right.
myself feel better. But your engineering mind doesn't leave you because I'm looking behind you. If anybody's watching this video of this episode, I mean, it literally looks like there's you got three big. I'm guessing this is kind of your mantra for SalesX, but you have complete conversion and life cycle in three different. I'm guessing glass poster boards behind you.
Yeah, there's just it's kind of like we used to have we used to service these clients that were all part of a franchise and they were doing caregiving and they couldn't understand anything about digital advertising if their lives depended on it. It was kind of like you talking in circles with them. So I put together this graphic and I said, look, here's the traffic from the internet. Here's the funnels that we capture it. We cycle it through. Some of them are gonna go through right away. These ones. Some of them they need more work.
Which looks like plumbing.
Right. So these ones they're ready to buy, and these ones they're not ready. And if they're not ready, you know, these are the 6 different categories that are not ready. So you gotta, you know, for each different category, you have to
The
have
stages
a
of
business
qualification.
process for each
That
one
would
of
be
them.
your stages of qualification, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then just goes on and on, different channels, how it's structured and blah blah blah. But basically it helped them visualize the entire process from beginning to end. And that's what kind of that was the engineering side of I studied industrial engineering, which is creating efficiencies in the manufacturing environment. And it's kind of like creating efficiencies in the learning for people that are older and they don't know anything about internet advertising.
Yeah.
So,
Well, brother, this is very this makes me feel better because I used to in my old office I had a huge whiteboard, and I would have people would say I'm like John Gruden drawing up plays, and it looks like what's behind you.
mm,
And I had to figure out a method to explain like what you have behind you. And everybody thinks you're crazy when you're doing this. They think you're just doodling on the wall or just messing around. It's like, no, I have to be able to communicate this to anybody. I have to make it simple and detailed at the same time.
yeah.
I need to make it simple, and like if you could put a layer over it and just making it more advanced until they got that's those sections, right? Like teaching anything that can be a starting point of simple, but can end up being very complex, right? And so mine is a totem pole model, which behind you in the conversion side, I see you have the bottom funnel too, which a lot of people miss. A lot of bad agencies don't put there,
Yeah.
which I find also very gratifying for me.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I have clients that, you know, we have a chat and they're like, hey, can you send me a picture of those 3 things? I wanna look at them in detail. Like, yeah, sure. But yeah, so
Do you have that published anywhere?
huh?
Anybody? Do you have that published publicly
No,
anywhere?
I don't think it's published. I think it's in some brochures that we printed, you know, so it's in one of those platforms where you can print on demand, but it's not published. Maybe we'll publish it. I mean, it's not a big deal.
I put down
Uh,
a big goal of I was really edible high one night, and I was like, I want to get this totem pole model to be in one of those Harvard Business Review models they show. You know,
yeah,
get with the 5 forces, those guys.
right.
So I have a theory on, and you said you're in the Bay Area, correct?
Yeah,
So I've got a bit of a theory on it's more the Bay Area kind of people that get successful. I find they and we're seeing this with the billionaires. You see Jeff Bezos is yoked now.
right.
You got Musk and Zuckerberg that are doing jujitsu. Warren Buffett still eating McDonald's every day. He's chilling, but
I don't know if he's eating it every day. You might say that.
well, doesn't he eat? He eats like the same McDonald's breakfast every day or something like that.
If you eat McDonald's every day, you're not gonna make it as long as Warren Buffett's been alive.
Well, his partner just passed away. That was had an incredible story I read the other day. But I have a theory that you get so successful that eventually you have to get into martial arts or get yoked. Is that? Do you see your colleagues, your other serial entrepreneur, CEO, founders, any of those guys in that realm?
There are a lot of kind of nerdy, skinny, nerdy pencil neck types that are really successful at work. Engineers, entrepreneurs that do jujitsu because,
It's humbling.
well, jujitsu, what I've done a lot of martial arts. I got my black belt in Shotokan back in '99. I did Kyokushin, the full contact karate. I got like a brown belt in that. I started doing jujitsu because it's still full contact, but there's no striking,
Right.
right? So it's kind of like, it's like submission grappling. It's almost like wrestling, but if your back hits the mat, you don't lose. You can just keep going. You can start just laying on your back if you wanted to. It's not a big deal.
Not a lot of striking.
There's no striking.
Right.
There's zero striking.
Well, I'm saying if you're working with amateurs, you might get some of those.
Well, yeah, those, I mean, so there's actually a really funny meme. It shows two dogs at the bottom. There's a pit bull that's just like, frothing at the mouth. And I know pit bulls, they're not people unfriendly. So I'm just describing the thing.
You don't have to, don't worry about it. I've said
yeah.
horrible stuff on this show.
No worries. So the pit bull is like frothing at the mouth and it's like in full attack mode. And then below it says Jiu-Jitsu white belt. And then on the top there's this lab that's just sitting super chill,
Yeah.
looking super cute, and it says Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And so that's, you kind of learn as you learn, you learn to pace yourself, you learn to not overexert yourself, don't gas out, don't excessively use your energy, kind of establish grips before you start putting pressure. Some of the things that I work with white belts that are at our academy, they're so tense, and I'm just literally sitting there. I haven't even done anything at all, and they're like ultra tense, and then they gas out, and I'm like, "What are you doing, man?" I've done literally nothing, and you already use like tons of energy just sitting here.
It's the fight or flight kind of pressure they're putting on themselves, right? It's self-preservation in a weird way.
So yeah, so jiu-jitsu teaches you to just, preserve under pressure, as the tagline for Kyotera Academy is. It's a preserve under pressure. So you could be in a really bad situation, but as long as you keep your composure, you'll probably be okay.
Well, I want to make sure we dovetail into, I'm guessing, what your passion project is now, which is the CBD side.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from maybe some inflammation, some recovery from some of this.
Yeah, so this stuff here, so what happens is, if you look, so I started using, from back in the day when I was doing Thai boxing and shin kicks and all that stuff, you use like Tiger Balm, you use like Tiger Liniment, China Gel, all this different stuff.
I'm going to just say, yeah, I'm going to agree. I don't know what any of those are, but they sound amazing.
Yeah, and
They sound like gas station pills.
No, there's just like, because you get these like bruises on your shins from shin kicking hard sandbags.
Right.
And then you roll them out with like and then you rub this stuff on it anyway. Bottom line is that I've been using a lot of this stuff, and then when CBD started coming in the market, I started buying the different CBD things. I bought like 10, 15 different ones over time. I had that, just like, would sit on the counter. I had every kind that you could imagine. And it was hit and miss if they worked. So what I did is I started looking into the clinical, this is the engineering side, the clinical trials data. I'm like, let's look and see what the clinical trials data shows on the CBD. And there's actually a document out there that is a summary of all that, because there aren't that many. There's like 15, 20 of them. And there's a summary of all of those in one document. And there's a table of the dosages. And I saw the dosages, and the dosages for each single dosage was over 100 milligram. Like 100 milligram for a single dose was like the minimum. It was like 100, 200, 300 milligram single doses for CBD. When you look at these commercial stuff that you buy, it might have 500 milligram in like a big tub of it, and 500 milligram in a big tub is nothing. It's literally nothing. So the CBD part of these CBD creams and potions and this and that and the other is mainly like a placebo effect that people are getting. It's all these other ingredients. They're not getting the CBD benefit itself. So I'm like, you know what? I want to change that for myself. So I started doing this product where in a half a ml single dose is 100 milligrams of CBD. This way you don't have to actually think about how much am I going to use? Is it too much? Is it too little? You just take the one packet and you fold it in half, you squeeze the oil out into your palm, and then you just use that. You can use it on your shoulder, on your elbow, any of your joints, any of your kind of knees, back, neck, anywhere that's hurting. You just rub that in. And the funny thing is that when you look at the reviews and when people, give me feedback and stuff, they have this big surprise in their face and they're like, it works. That's like the biggest compliment. It's like, yeah, it
Yeah, no,
works.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really works. Like, yeah, because it's got like an entire tub's worth of CBD in one dose.
So you're
'Cause for
basically
whatever reason, people selling this stuff out there, they're not putting the right, anything significantly valuable in there.
so what when did you come into this market, start looking at it?
I mean, I started, so there were about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Oh wow, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Okay.
So a
And
couple of
so
years ago, I started, and then it took a year to come up with the product. The first batch that we manufactured, they leaked and leached and stuff, and I had to send like an entire pallet's worth back. Took another 6-7 months to get a second batch,
Sweet.
get it fixed. Yeah, I mean, there's barriers to entry for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm saying more or less the advantages. I was just talking to someone. I was just on a what was I doing? I was writing something for my website, for my company's website, and it was about kind of planning for 2024 because I'm in the same. I came up through digital advertising and then learned every other aspect of digital or marketing in general, I should say.
Okay.
And so, and I think I have a puzzle brain like you do. And so, but I was saying AI is the most overused. It's going to be it's the most overused 2023 marketing word, like maybe keto, because anything could be keto because there's no qualification. And then what you're saying is you saw the opportunity of like, there's aggressive expansion of that market, right? The CBD market, the last 10 years.
Right.
But no one's really doing the quality control and no one's really doing it correctly. And you're saying, they're barely putting enough in there for, unless you're like one of those very sensitive people, like I can't have a coffee after 2 o'clock or I'm up all night. That's fine for them maybe, but
Right.
it never worked on me. And that's why I want to go on XCBD.com and try it out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so if you read about the placebo effect, you'll find that just like everything else, there's a bell-shaped curve. Most people, placebo works for them to some degree. Some people, it really works for them, and some people, it doesn't work for them at all.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're part of the people where placebo really works for you, consider yourself lucky. Amen. You don't need Tylenol.
Right.
Just take a regular sugar pill and it'll work like Tylenol. You're good.
Yeah, but you can't know. You can't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, but if you're in the middle there where sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, or on the far edge where placebo is not going to get you there, then you're wasting your money on these other CBD products. But that's not to say that there's nobody selling the high dose stuff. There are people
No. But I'm
high
saying
dose stuff. Yeah.
there's with anything CBD or THC or shrooms coming down the line, maybe like
Right.
they're markets that are aggressively expanding too much at too high of a rate, and quality control is always going to be lacking, and then
Right.
you're going to have people that come in just to get in the market and don't care. They're just going to make sales and churn it out and get out of there. So I found that interesting that the CBD market kind of probably was mature enough, a year and a half ago by the time you started looking at it, and you didn't give up on going, well, it's pretty big. I think what I'm trying to say is people listening, don't do the research first before you become defeatist. I feel like a lot of people go, well, I'm a little long in the tooth now. I don't know if that's even worth looking into to try this new thing.
Right.
Even if it's martial arts, or, hey, let me go look at these CBD studies. I know how to read them. And my hunch, and you do the scientific method, my hunch is they're not doing it correctly in a lot of these. And I find that very interesting because I'm guessing you don't need to do this CBD company.
No, and that's the key. So the thing about the CBD was that I see the need. There are a lot of people doing like martial arts like jujitsu, and they're not doing yoga every day, which means that you get stiff, you know, your muscles are all tight, so you're only going 2-3 days a week, and so you need the CBD. You need something. So I was one of those people. I started like heavy duty doing yoga, and this program I just came back from was like yoga teachers training.
Whoa, I see the gold seal on that certification.
Yeah, for Ghosh Yoga, which is Ghosh was the teacher of Bikram. Vishnu Charan Ghosh was teacher of Bikram, the younger brother of Yogananda, the author of Autobiography of a Yogi. So big fan of all of those kind of Indian yogis. So I don't really need it as much now, but I run into people just my last order, she left a review and she's like, yeah, my mom has a torn ligament in her shoulder. She's waiting to do surgery. And my dad has arthritis in his fingers. And they're both using it and they love it, you know, and you're bettering their life. It's like, great, wonderful.
I
That,
mean,
you know,
my hope is you can take out just a chunk of the painkiller market with this a little bit, you know. But that's a whole other that's a whole other topic. I'll maybe save for when we can get you back on, but because that's a very depressing topic as well. Anything else before we get out of here? I want to keep you on time. I want to make sure
yeah,
we're not.
no, I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to have a chat, Law, and I did check out your website briefly. I like your style.
Well, good
Makes a lot
for,
more sense now. I wish I had, you know, done a better job for you, but
what are you
I think I
talking
got my
about?
points across.
You are a martial arts guy. Yeah. Because all the martial arts guys I know were like, they're like, man, I could have done better at whatever we're doing. And I'm like, you're fine. You're doing fine. You were great.
Yeah,
Look, I told you, if you were boring, I would dominate this whole thing. So,
it's all
but I
good.
think we get to some bullet points I had for you. We'll have to get you on again at some point, and we're gonna get some product because we like testing out any of our guest stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I will send you some. I'll put some in the mail for you.
All right, sounds
All
good,
right.
partner. Well, thanks for coming on, and
Thanks so much.
yeah, we'll have to have you back on when Eric, my co-host, is not on hiatus right now. So,
Got you.
all right,
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Take care.
bye.
Bye.